Next question, guys. Obviously, can I have coffee if it is decaffeinated? I mean, as you can kind of see there, which might be news to some of you guys, but the decaffeinated drinks still contain caffeine in them. Again, it's obviously the marketing side of things to sell their products. I mean, at the end of the day, that is what it's about, and it is traded obviously dramatically lower amounts of caffeine in decaffeinated, obviously. So, I mean, what we tend to try and do with our camps and our camp members is just kind of go through and kind of detox your body, get rid of that caffeine initially. And again, a lot of our campers go through a pretty hellish week, really, getting rid of a lot of the kind of coffees and teas that they have. If they've overdosed in them or if they've got quite a high amount of them in their diet already. So trying to cut that kind of out. And again, as a maintenance program after 30 days or so, then you can start to bring things like that in maybe as an option, as a bit of a treat. But I try and come away from as much as possible. There's other options out there, guys, as well. So obviously your green teas, you've got to be careful of. A lot of them will have caffeine in them as well. So again, be careful with that. Again, there's a lot of other kind of different products and different types of teas. Again, just getting general hot water and bobbing a lemon in it, and there's lots of different kind of things you can do that just aren't going to be a massive irritant or boost for your general energy system. So it's just trying to get rid of them chemicals from our body. Again, just trying to purify our body and get rid of all the general irritants is definitely a good thing.
What you'll also find as well, guys, you may read that caffeine can actually be quite good for sort of exercise performance, and that's actually quite true. But you find that it's quite good on a one-off dosage as a performance enhancer. If you have caffeine always in your system, then your body becomes used to it to the point that you'd have to have more and more caffeine to have the same effect, the same stimulation effect. And that's why we get to the point from rather than just having a cup a day, all of a sudden we're having 6 or 7, 8 cups a day to keep us stimulated throughout the day, because our body needs more and more to keep that stimulation level up. And that sounds very much like a drug. That's where the sort of the addiction side of it comes. Whereas if you've got that caffeine in your system once a week or once a fortnight or even once a month, it can actually be really quite a boost for your exercise. But then withdraw from it again so that you can get that same boost again and again, but with a good sort of withdrawal in between each one.
Okay. Just about the control, guys. Just controlling it and you being in control of when you're taking that board, not it dictating and leading you down a slippery path.
No. Are diet drinks bad? Yeah. A lot of diet drinks get promoted as they're sort of 0 calorie or low calorie, and they're supposed to be better than the sort of what you would consider your full fat drinks. But the diet drinks actually tend to be as bad or worse than the normal equivalent. You get a lot of sort of sugar replacements in there in terms of sort of aspartame and other sort of chemical sweeteners, and those chemical sweeteners are really quite damaging for the body. There's things like aspartame have been banned in quite a lot of countries now because of the sort of the effects they can have as a sort of a toxic chemical within your system. But it also, aspartame in particular, has an insulinogenic effect on your body. So like when you have sugar coming into your system, it causes your insulin levels to rise up. When you have aspartame come into your system, it kind of triggers your body to go looking for sugar. So your body starts to naturally produce sort of the sugars back into the bloodstream, but then your body kind of sees that as being unbeneficial, so it then tends to sort of store it. And the quickest way for it to store it is back into the fat cells again. So you actually start taking sort of the sort of sugars out from the sort of the liver or the muscle cells and then putting them back into the fat cells. So it's actually, having a diet drink is counterproductive to the sort of the weight loss or the fat loss that you're trying to achieve.
Next question, guys, obviously quite a long one. Somebody said to me once that eating 5 oranges doesn't count as your 5 portions of fruit a day. fruit and veg a day at the general outline that people got. I don't know why anyone would want to eat 5 oranges, but assuming they do, surely it's just as valid as eating a mix of fruits and veg. Obviously, a variety is better, but you'd still be getting all the vitamins, fibre, etc., from your 5 oranges, I suppose. Like we've kind of put there, the varieties of spice life is so important, guys, to get as much variety of your fruits and vegetables, etc. Within each fruit and vegetables, obviously, there's going to be a certain amount on certain types of vitamins and minerals within that one. It's not to say that in every single fruit it covers every vitamin and mineral that you need across the board. That isn't going to be the case. Different ones will have different amounts and different types of vitamins and minerals. So getting the varieties is the more important thing. This whole kind of five a day and format, that kind of where that's originated from, again government orientated, to try and get people to have more fruit and vegetables in a day, is not to say that you need to have that amount. In fact, now where fruit and vegetables are kind of heading in terms of how we produce them and things, we need to take in a lot more on board to actually get the nutrient benefits of vitamins and minerals, because of the lack and the breakdown, and it doesn't have as much of an impact now, especially kind of supermarket fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. Again, mass produced, so the vitamins and minerals aren't there in an abundance, so we have to eat more of them to get the same amount of benefits, if that makes sense. So again, like we kind of put on the bottom there, getting a bit more kind of veg on board and less fruits. Again, with our guys, when we go through the 30 days, we're trying to obviously encourage them to have as much vegetables and things with that protein that they're taken on board with for their main meals. And again, people generally kind of snack on fruits and things like that, and like we kind of cover with them, to try and take a protein base on board as well to slow that general sugar release down. We can use that kind of sugar release and natural sugars that we get within our fruits as a bit of a stimulant, almost like a replacement, because we've cut sugar and caffeine and other things out of our diet. We can almost overdose on them just to kind of get that same boost from it. So being very careful with our fruits is more of the thing that we should kind of look at. Be selective when we take them on board. You might take them on board, like we talked about, with a handful of nuts or seeds or something like that, as a pre-workout snack. That might give you a little bit of a boost just before you're about to train. It's not too heavy, that'll sit in your stomach, but it's going to give you the energy and give you that boost you need for your session, so you can put as much effort into it and get as much kind of out of that. So that's whereabouts them types of things would sit on board. But variation is definitely key to answering this question. Just try and vary as much fruits and vegetables as you can. Like we kind of covered there, try and take a bit more veg on, really, and be selective when you have the fruits and what you have with that as well, not just taking it on its own would be the best format. I don't know if you want to add anything in there, Nathan.
Yeah, just going back to looking at why we're needing to take on more now than we used to. Basically, what's happening is the soils are being leached of all the vitamins and minerals that were naturally there, say 20 years ago. Because we're over farming everything, because we're mass producing everything, the soils have actually got less sort of vitamins and minerals in there that can come into the foods that are grown. So the foods that are actually reaching the supermarket shelves actually don't have as much, say, vitamin C, as much vitamin B, all those sorts of things in there as they used to. So we actually now need to get more and more on board to hit our sort of recommended daily levels, as it were. But definitely most of that wants to come from your vegetables rather than your fruit, for the same reasons Byron was talking about there. We don't want to overdose on the sort of the fructose, the natural sugars in the fruit. Are coconuts high in saturates or low? As I've heard that cooking with coconut oil is quite good. Coconut oil is high in saturated fats. However, it's quite healthy for you. They're called medium chain triglycerides, the sort of the fats, the saturated fats within the coconut oil, and they're actually broken down in such a way that they're easily used by your body. So they're actually taken in to be used for productive purposes. But from a cooking point of view, it's actually very good to cook with, because of the its ability to handle heat. A lot of the oils that we cook with, even olive oil, is very temperature sensitive. So if you see it starting to smoke as you're cooking, that means that oil's already starting to degrade. It's starting to become a bit rancid, and it then actually isn't particularly providing the health benefits that it should, compared to if it was taken on naturally. So olive oil sprinkled onto your salads and your vegetables after the meal is cooked is actually more healthy for you than to actually be cooked in. Whereas coconut oil handles temperature better, doesn't degrade, so it's much better to be cooked in. So trying to sort of manage your oils that way around will really serve you well as far as your fat loss goes. Why is natural yogurt okay but other dairy isn't? It's a little bit of a concession, really, because the live cultures, the live natural bacteria in the natural yogurts actually aid your digestion. So the benefits to your digestion compared to the small chance of the proteins in the dairy irritating your system kind of outweigh each other, so that the yogurt is more beneficial than less beneficial. Okay.
Again, next question, guys. Are all E numbers bad? No, not all of them. But the kind of majority. So, and it can have a nasty effect on our body. Quite a dramatic effect on our body. We covered, obviously, we've named a few before that we've kind of talked about along the way, but which are kind of prominent within foods. Example being obviously sulfur dioxide. So often, obviously, added to milk and dairy products, and leads to intestinal issues. So again, skin disorders and destroys general vitamins, B12, etc. Obviously massively important on the energy aspect of things. Like we kind of talked about before, going kind of back to kind of fat loss a little bit on this topic. Again, adding all them different kind of things into our diet, obviously is going to massively affect our liver. Really, really, really would. So it's just obviously slowing that process down, bunging the system up, and obviously our liver has to work overtime to kind of get rid of that. Not a good thing to kind of look at. For obviously more info on these types of things and the type of E numbers you should be kind of watching out for, etc., etc. Obviously look at the link that we've got down there. So again, try and copy that down. Maybe as we speak, again, you'll obviously have a copy of this, so you can go back to this and have a little look at that. Yeah, good stuff on there.
Cool, guys. Thank you for listening. Hopefully you've taken some interesting stuff away from that today. Hopefully we've answered the key questions that you sent in to us. We imagine you might have some feedback or further questions now sort of developing from the things that we've been talking about. So do send them across to us on the email there. If you would like us to come and provide a talk for your either your school, your office, or your local community group, do get in touch. We'd love to come out and do that. We can make it specific to whatever you want us to talk about within nutrition. And we're also looking at potential of doing an 8-week online nutrition course. So we would follow this same format. So you'd have the slides to read through. We would talk over the top so that you've got the additional information talking around each topic. But it would be a lot more in depth than what we've covered today, looking at all aspects of nutrition for health and fat loss. So if that's something that you'd be interested in, send us some feedback, and that's definitely something we can put together for you. And that's us for today, really. Yes. So thank you for Byron for sitting with us and joining in today, sharing his great nutrition knowledge with you. And we'll look forward to seeing you all soon. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, guys.